Right. Good afternoon, good evening, colleagues, depending on wherever you're joining from. I'm very happy to welcome you to this seminar series this evening. This is the 5th edition of the ASFI Science Seminar Series for 2024. So I welcome you. Today is an exciting day because it is a day to express yourself. It's an open discussion. You are not going to listen to anyone except when I'm speaking anyway, and all of us. So it's a day to express yourself, and I encourage you to get yourself prepared. My name is Bright Waro. I'm the host of this program, and I have my co-host, Dr. Eman Sub, and I will ask her to say hello to you before I continue. Eman, please.
Hello, welcome everyone. My name is Iman Sobh. I am Associate Professor of Respiratory Medicine at Al-Azhar University, Egypt. And I am also working at Taiba University, Saudi Arabia. I am the Director of Science and Communication for African Science Frontiers Initiatives. It is my pleasure to welcome you all here in this platform and invite you to participate in discussion, also have some communication and collaboration with the ASFI members and other colleagues in science and research. It is our theme this year that we will discuss and examine the innovation landscape in Africa. So please participate with us to make an impact from this fruitful discussion, and welcome to African Science Frontiers Initiative family. Welcome everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Eman. Thank you. All right. So welcome, colleagues. I will quickly make an introduction. As usual, I believe some people are joining this seminar series for the first time, so that you're not left wondering, who are these people? What are they doing? So this program is brought to you by the African Science Frontiers Initiatives, ASFI in short, as we call it. Some people call it ASFI, some people call it ASFI. It's all ASFI. It's a non-profit organization that aims to support the research and science capacity building of African scientists. The seminar is monthly, the last Sunday of every month, 5 to 7 p.m. GMT. All right. So ASFI's vision is to raise the next generation of African scientists with the right competencies to drive Africa's developmental and transformational agenda through innovative scientific research. One thing that is important, we have stressed this often each time we meet under this platform, that no nation can develop outside a contribution, and I mean intentional contribution of science and research. It has never happened. And for Africa to develop, there is need for active participation of science in that developmental program. But researchers need to have the competencies to be able to undertake research that will contribute to nation building. And that is what ASFI aims to support that process, to support the competence development, capacity building of African researchers. One of the languages we speak, and we speak quite loudly in ASFI, is excellence. they want to instill excellence in Africa's science. And this comes from competence acquisition, capacity building, career development. As I'll be showing you, we have different programs that we aim to support these various aspects. And eventually, we want to contribute to African science that tackles Africa's developmental challenges. And that is when it is complete. You cannot have an active science that does not play a role in nation building and nation development. Okay, so to achieve our vision, our mission, we have different programs. We have seminars like this, where we raise conversations about the nature, the status, where we are in Africa as scientists, the challenges, the barriers, the opportunities we have. Each year in the seminar series, we have themes we are working with. And in this year, it is Innovation in Research, Africa's PANACEA. That is what we are doing throughout this year. And then we also have workshops. One of those is the tips and tricks, Dr. Warren's tips and tricks, which we call 1 hour research clinic, which we treat different topics. This year, we are working on the theme, scientists, success virtues. All right, I'll come back on that. And then we'll have hands-on courses. We'll have different courses we run, aimed at supporting the capacity building of Africans in research. And our courses cover the whole spectrum of the research landscape, from question formulation to publication. Then we'll have a robust mentoring program. And this year we have been working on the match mentoring, and it's ongoing. I believe that this will be one of the things that will support research. And then we'll have research programs also that we are running to contribute to our programs. Yes, so these are the topics we'll be covering in the seminar series this year. And then Dr. Warren's research tips and tricks, you can see scientists' success virtues. This month, we are looking at the issue of ignorance, the outcome that beautifies research, ignorance. This comes on Friday. I will come back to that in a minute. Yeah, so we are treating several things that usually you don't get in the curriculum, your training curriculum within the 4 corners of the university. Rarely do you get these things. But we think that they're important for us to highlight them, because you may be at a stage in your career, you're wondering what is happening to you. You're losing interest. Perhaps failure comes your way. It discourages you. You're depressed about it. They need to be talked about, because one of the things you may not know is that this actually part of the process, but you need to know how to handle them. So these are not some of the things you do in your lab. They are not some of the things you do in the field, but they manifest and you need to prepare yourself. So please join us and don't miss any of those. And these are our courses for this year we have planned, and I hope you will not miss to join us. One that is crucial coming up in July is the data analysis software course, making sense of data. This is a skill that no matter who you are, you need to have in the current dispensation of our world. You need to have data analysis skills to make progress, because that is the language our words actually speaks. And then, yes, this is a flyer for the tips and tricks on Friday. Please join us. We're also excited to announce to you plans are in full gear towards the conference and bootcamp, the annual virtual conference and bootcamp. All right. It's scheduled for 26th to 28th November. But this is the call for abstract. Last year was really a beautiful 3 days we had together. It was beautiful. And it showed to us that Africans can do something beautiful. We enjoyed it. We are looking forward to even better event this year. So please bring your abstract and submit. We are looking forward to them. Yeah, one of the things that we're also excited about is the African Science Frontiers Initiatives Research Journal, which has now gone online. We're inviting manuscript submission to the first issue. The first issue is to be published in September. So bring your manuscript. ASFI origin, in abbreviation, is a multidisciplinary journal and publishes different types of papers. So please submit your papers using the link we have given. The deadline for this submission is 30th of June. Every submission within this period, this deadline will be published free of charge. So please take advantage of it. We are planning to have a journal of example for Africa of international standard. And we mean it. So please bring your abstracts. Yeah, as I mentioned, this is a course. If you have not registered, please do so. Deadline for registration, 12th of July. And the course is running 22nd to 26th of July. We have 8-hour marathon each day. It's an intensive course, but you come out tired, but refined, I promise you. Yes, so ASFI Research Journal is live. Let's join. And within that, we also have sent out a call to those who want to serve as associate editors, sectional editors, reviewers, or editor interns, or reviewer interns, whichever you think you fall into place. The deadline for that is 30th of May. We have sent out the links. If you believe you want to contribute to this is part of the capacity building program of ASFI. It's part of the capacity building program of ASFI. And this is the way you grow in your career, getting exposed with some of these experiences, learning how to do them, and then you become a better person. So we are offering this opportunity. The journal is a multidisciplinary journal, meaning that it covers every field of endeavor. So there will be lots of associate editors to cover the different disciplines. There are even much more lots of sectional editors to cover the different disciplines and reviewers. So we encourage you, regardless of the level you are in your career, if you have interest to learn these skills, we are happy to support you. That is one thing we would like to stress in ASFI, the platform to build the next generation. We'll be happy to get those interests. Many of you have already expressed your interest. For those who have not done so, please do so. This is also contained in our monthly newsletter, a reminder was sent out earlier today. One of the things I mentioned is that ASFI also conducts research. And the goal of this research is to understand the issues facing African scientists, African researchers. Through this, we generate knowledge that can help us to plan our programs, to plan our conversations. So one of the research projects that is ongoing is research misconduct in Africa. We'll be closing it soon. Please, if you have not filled it, we encourage you. If you can take 10 minutes to do that, we appreciate it. So do it so that we can generate. This is an area that is so important. There are lots of misconduct in research across the world, but most of the information we have comes from the developed world, the Western. It is not because nothing is happening in Africa, but we do not have much data to show. And you know, the king is always the one who owns the data in the world we live today. So let's make our voice be known, and we can continue to this. Thank you for supporting us. If you have not filled the questionnaire, I encourage you to do so. Okay, so this is our theme for this year. Why talk about innovative research in Africa? Why talk about that? The fact is that research is really the bedrock, as I mentioned earlier, of societal development. This is UNESCO mantra, which I love so much, because it is through research that we can find opportunities for living longer and healthier, providing medicine for our diseases and ill health, providing water to drink, growing our foods, providing energy to keep our lives going, and of course, making our life fun. Okay? It is all based on doing research. And whatever has been discovered, we also need to get better at it. And so it is important because through research, solutions for everyday life will be found. All right? So they concluded by saying that science and research must respond to societal needs and global challenges. It is the one who does research that generates knowledge. If you don't do research or you don't do it well, you only consume. You are the baby in the end. All right, so when we look at where Africa is in global reckoning, we see that Africa lags behind in every indicator of human development. There's no argument about that. And it's not an argument we will engage in this. Life expectancy, Africa lags behind. Number of people without access to drinking water. In fact, Africa has become worse in the current dispensation than Africa was in the 1990s, when other regions are shrinking this situation. Africa is growing worse. Extreme poverty, Africa is worse. I will be worse in up to the year 2030, and perhaps more than that, than it was in 1990. This is concerning. For me, I don't know for you. You can see those who are using internet, not just using internet, Africa lags behind, but even using secure internet. As you see in this seminar today, many people will be going off and on, All right, because our internet situation is still poor. So, Professor Hubert Giesen said the challenges we face are colossal and complex, And we need to put the best brains together. We need collaboration. We need sharing of knowledge and information. We need open science approaches. And that is why, as we are having this evening, we are recording, and ASFI programs are available on our YouTube channel so that people have access to it. If we don't come together, if we don't deliberate together, if we don't collaborate together, it's very hard to move forward. All right, he continued to say, to benefit from the wealth of resources we have, and we have them, and to address the challenges, we need a bold strategy. And science, technology, innovation need to be at the core of every strategy. This is important. Quite often, scientists in the continents will end up doing research to get our promotion, get accolade. Rarely do we put this solving immediate challenges that we face. But we need to change such trajectories if we are to catch up and address our problems. So that is why we have taken the journey this year. How do we undertake innovative research? So we started by looking at what is innovation, the challenges to innovations. We went to the urgencies, and today we are looking at the innovation stakeholders, because they are stakeholders to innovation. I love this definition by the University of Oslo in Norway that says innovation is new ideas that work. New ideas work. All right? These are key terms. New ideas that work. Innovation consists of processes that lead to a new or improved product, or measures that will improve services or solve societal needs. Innovation is about adding value to society. If our research has not attained the ingredients of innovation, society cannot change. That is really what it means, because it will add value to society. So that is why this year we are taking this path to look at the different aspects of innovation, and particularly innovation in research. So while I finalize this introduction and introduce the topic and how we are going to walk through, I encourage you, please use the chat box, introduce yourself, tell about yourself. Today is about us. I'm not introducing any speaker. So do it well. And then when you go up, because I'm going to send you to breakout sessions, it's an open discussion. You can introduce yourself properly there. You can introduce yourself properly there. All right. So it's an open discussion. Make your voice known. Innovation, stakeholders, innovation stakeholders. You see different organizations. What I've done is that I've taken this from different organizations, describing the different stakeholders. And you can see some can be complex, which means in my summary, this means that everyone in the society is a stakeholder in innovation. Everyone. All right? Everyone. From the education and research sector, which most of us who are here represent, the public sector, to the private sector, to societal sector, to funding sector, and so on and so forth. And then you have innovation communities. You have consumers. So in the end, if you ask the question, who is a stakeholder? Everybody and I mean everybody. So this is another approach that displays the stakeholders, okay? Indicating that, depending on the field you are, but indicating that everybody is part of the ecosystem. This is another one as well. This is another one, just to let you know, there's a global understanding that innovation stakeholders include. So that is what we are going to be looking at today. Innovation stakeholders and their roles. So if you can take a picture of this, that would be great. If you can take a picture of this, because I don't know, and you may not know the group you end up being in. There will be 6 groups, as you can see. There will be 6 groups. I'm going to automatically sign everyone. If you end up in group 1, then what you'll be discussing is academia. All right, academia as an innovation stakeholder. If you end up in group 1, you'll be discussing academia, and that includes scientists, researchers. I mean, all those within the 4 walls of the academy. All right, and you'll be looking at who are they, what should they be doing in terms of innovation. How do they fare in Africa? Meaning, what are they doing in Africa? Do you understand what they're doing? Do you appreciate what they're doing? Are they doing well? What factors influence their success and failure? If they are failing, what are the factors? So if they are succeeding, what are the factors? So group 1 is academia, and we'll discuss this. Group 2, we discuss the consumers, and the consumers will refer to the public. All right, the public. Those who are represented in the public. And there are many people who are represented in the public. So, and you discuss along this line. Group 3, we discuss the government. Group 4, we discuss the private sector. Group 5, we discuss the funders, those who give money for development, for research, different things in the society. And the group 6, we discuss the entrepreneurs. All right, hope it's clear. So that is what will happen. Take a picture of this, because right now, I am going to send you to your breakout sessions. When you discuss, please appoint somebody from your group when you return who will summarize your discussion. Summarize your discussions. I'm giving each group to summarize in 2 minutes. So please take note of your discussions. When I send you out, I'm going to send you out for 30 minutes to discuss these issues in your breakout sessions. And then we'll bring you back. Appoint somebody who will summarize. So please take note of that. If possible, those who will summarize, you can rename yourself and indicate which group you belong. All right, so that when we call you, you can answer for yourself. And then after they have given the summaries, we are going to take the discussion where we'll open room for all of us to contribute. There are other questions I have in this slide, but this is what you're going to discuss at the moment. All right, so let me create the, so group 1 is academia. Group 2 is consumers. 3. Group 3 is government. Group 4, private sector. Group 5, funders. And group 6, entrepreneurs. All right, we are ready now. I will open the rooms now. So have a wonderful discussion. The time start counting. I will bring you back in half an hour time. See you. Sorry, I was speaking, but it appears you are not hearing me. Okay, do you hear me now?
Yes,
Can I
right.
get, all right,
Yeah.
great. Okay, so welcome back, everyone. I hope you have had a very good discussion. So this is the task we sent you out to do. I will put up this, and let's see who is speaking for group number 1, academia. Group number 1, academia. Group number 1. Who is speaking? Please just raise your hand. Then I will give you permission to unmute yourself. Group number 1. Who is speaking for group number 1? Please make it simple for us. Don't delay that. All right. I don't like it when I get no response at all. So group number 1. Okay, I see Suad Ahmed. I guess you are the one speaking for group number 1. So please go ahead. In 2 minutes, tell us what you have discussed. Group number 2, get ready. Group number 3, get ready.
Hi everyone. I am Suad Ahmed for group 1. We were about 10 or 9 participants. For the question, who are they? Who are academia? There was debate.
Yeah, please know that you
Someday,
have 2 minutes. So have 2 minutes.
yes,
Just, yeah.
is about academia, but the debates, academia including all persons working in academic institutions, including students. But by the end of the day, we come to that they are professional experts who are working in education and research institutions. About question 2, the role of academia is to generate and transfer knowledge. Generate and transfer knowledge for the communities. For question 5, how do they fare in Africa? Unfortunately, they are lagging as they are or they have theoretical more than being a problem solver. The organizational structure they work in is not properly set. It is crucial to define and know their position in the institutions and in the community. There is lack of political support and funding to conduct high quality research to participate in innovation. About the last question, factors influence success or failure in Africa. Factors influence success is that establishing a a collaboration and partnership. And there are some small scale inventions and there is trials for knowledge creation. Failure, they are not working in sustainability, lack of work in sustainability, lack of funding, and no innovative solutions for challenges. This is in summary what we come to answer these 5 questions. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Okay, group number 2. Thank you for group number 1. Group number 2, what do you have? Who is speaking for group number 2? Do Miss Sunny. All right, please.
Okay, thank you, Prof. For group number 2, that is consumers. Firstly, we say that the academics themselves, they are also consumers as much as they are also the producers of research, in the sense that they also utilize the research of others. Also the policymakers, like your government officials, parliamentarians, they are also the consumers, planners, or even sector-specific people in education, in agriculture, professionals in the field, as well as the general public, your beneficiaries, like farmers, students. Those are the people who are the consumers. With respect to the second question, what should they be doing? One of the things that we talked about is that the policymakers in particular, they need to utilize the research. Like if there are research findings, there should be some implementation of those research findings, and also there should be provision of the feedback on the. There should be provision of the feedback on the research itself by the stakeholders. We also noted the issue of the acceptability of the research, such that the research participants who are the users, they need to be consulted at every stage of the research from the beginning up to the end. Then, in terms of how do they fare in Africa, we found that they don't fare well in Africa due to various impediments that we have identified. Like you'll find that the consumers, sometimes they're not consulted widely. The last question which is saying that now what factors influence their success, we identified things like lack of communication, language barriers, like there are many sectors of Africa whereby English is not the language of communication. Also, the issue of connectivity, internet is also one of the barriers. The issue of infrastructure, also the need for identification or assessment, need identification or assessment. Then also there is a lack of sharing of knowledge of innovative research, and also there is a lack of relevancy to target consumers. Also, the last thing that which was mentioned was the lack of monitoring and evaluation of the research. Thanks, Prof.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much, group number 2. I think those are very important insights, and they are true. We can speak about consumers all day long, and you can already feel that many things developed in Africa do not stand the test of time, or perhaps are not very valued. Why? Because they are too much top down and not down up. So people feel this would be good for you, but those they are intended for do not feel that is actually what they need. So the issue you mentioned, lack of communication, that should be. We'll come back to that just after this summary. All right, group number 3, government. Who is speaking for? Okay. Let me see. I have Valile, group number 3.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Thank you, Prof. Thanks, Prof. Right. Valile from South Africa on behalf of group number 3. There were about 6 members in the group. I was asked to represent the group. The group is about government as the stakeholder in research innovation. The first question was, who are they? The answer was that by government as the stakeholder, we mean the group of people who are providing leadership as in the public service. People who are in the public service, who are responsible for running the government or for running the state. That's what we mean by government as the stakeholders in research innovation. The second question was, what should they be doing? We agreed as the group that they should be providing a regulatory framework in terms of research innovation. And by framework, we are referring to policies, to laws, and decision-making systems and processes that must promote and monitor for research innovation in the country. And related to the regulatory framework, policies and laws could be the question of research funding itself, how research is funded from the government policy perspective. And the reason for that would be the idea of creating a conducive environment for research, establishment of the structures that promote and monitor for research. Such structures would be the research institutes or research centers or research foundations that dispense resources, monies, according to the government subsidy policies. Those policies then would have to be interpreted or translated at the level of the university or the institution that is responsible for research. Then the third question, how do they, that is the government, fare in Africa? In answering this question, we had to be quite distinct about the members of the group in terms of their nationalities. So we had cases where in Kenya, there is a concern that government does not have enough money for research funding. As a result, the researchers in universities have to take their own initiatives to access funding from the granting bodies or agencies that can provide research. We also heard that in Nigeria, the government is faring well in terms of releasing money for research. People sometimes are released from their work loads or work time in order to conduct and complete research. So we heard such stories about Nigeria. There seemed to be a positive thinking that South Africa might be doing well in terms of the funding framework, in terms of the research funding and subsidy to universities. But even in South Africa, we also highlighted the historical and structural issues. When you consider that the country is still emerging from the old apartheid system, you find that there are universities that are doing well in research. Others are still struggling because of the historical issues. Now, we also face the reality that even in the institutions where they might be doing well in research, it can boil down to the question of the individual capacity in those universities. For instance, in struggling universities, you may find people who are doing well in research because they are highly motivated to conduct research. And in well-resourced universities, you might find that there are people who are not well motivated to conduct research. So the university that they are in are quite good. The last question was the key factors influencing the success or failure in terms of the government and the institutions that are responsible for research. We noticed the question of corrupted systems, which is a question of leadership, which affects mostly international students when they are supposed to be involved. They are asked to be involved in examination systems and processes as masters and PhD students. They are asked to mark papers, which may be something that has got nothing to do with the research, but they are being taken advantage perhaps because they are students. We also
let me stop you here. The discussion you are bringing on board is very, very interesting. We are going to come back to some of these things. So for the sake of time, let me ask other groups to present, but we will return to some of these.
Thank you. Then.
Okay. Yes, thank you. Let's go to group number 4. Group number 4. I have Nyanda, please.
Okay, thank you. I'm Nyanda Justin from Mwanza, Tanzania. So in our group number 4, we are 6 members, and we were discussing about the private sector. So who are they? The private sectors, we discussed that these are the non-governmental, private individuals, enterprises, which are aimed for profit. They are doing businesses. On the other hand, they are providing support to the economy of the country so that it achieves its goals. And examples of these are the non-government organizations, the industries, partnership, larger corporations, trade unions, etc. So on the question number 2, what should they be doing? These private sectors, they should be the source of fund to support research and the innovation for the researchers, but also they should be cooperating with the government to implement the regulations and the laws which are produced by the government to foster research and innovation. But also they should have a research or innovation department in the organizations so that to support in the area of research and the innovation. But also they must be connected or involved with the researchers and adopt innovation, which is the product of research. So they should be cooperating with the public sector. The question number 3, how do these private sectors fare in Africa? So we saw that majority of these private sectors, they are aimed to do business. They are aiming at profit. So less is done. They do not fare much, especially in Africa, in the area of research or innovation. So we discussed if you give them from a scale of 1 to 9, you can score them 3. So they are really needed to be to do something to foster research and innovation. So what are the factors that are influencing success and the failure of these private sectors in Africa? There are a lot of factors, but just highlighting very few is that there is lack of clear policy on research and innovation. So these people, these NGOs, they are not provided with a clear policy on how they can be involved with research. So it's the role of the government to develop these policies and to make them clear so that these private sectors, when they're doing their business, they should know that at least there is a party in the policy that they should implement, that in one way or another they should be involving in supporting research. But also they should collaborate with the public sector. As we can see, majority of the researchers are in public sector. So these private business people also should be collaborating with the public sector so that in the area of research and the innovation can be
20
taken.
seconds.
Yes. Lastly is that they should be involved, they should be engaged. So we know the scientists are the one who produce the results of the research, but you end up publishing or presenting scientific conferences, but this private sector are not there. So they should be involved, they should be engaged so that they can utilize the products of research and take up the innovation part. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, group number 4. Let's go to group number 5, funders. Who is speaking for group number 5? Group number 5, are you there?
There's Narmian who will speak on behalf of the group.
Who is speaking for group number 5? Can you raise your hand, please?
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
We speak about the funder. We speak on behalf of Group 5. The funders as governmental organization and non-governmental organization. Governmental organization like as higher education, but we find their overfund the over dependency on non-governmental organization in research fund, but limited support from indigenous people and government, and also more time the governmental organization, if they support research fund, they are not fully support. The question number 2, the funder do, they do financial support, strategic guidance to some extent, and provide opportunity for network and cross immediate innovations and long-term commitments. Okay. The third question about how do they are fair in Africa. To some extent, they are not fair. The funders in Africa, as I mentioned, they are not fully funded the projects, and also they are no one priority list for the funder. Most time the funder fund according to their agenda, right? And not follow the priority list. The factor lead to success, accountability and ownership of the projects, and good mentorship program, and innovation in follow-up and progress monitoring. All these lead to success. And the factor of failure, complex and difficult approval of the fund, and lack of transparency, and sometimes we may find the foreign funder, but the long and difficult governmental process behind to use this fund in the suitable time, and if the fund is available, we can show innovative project building, and at the same time, there are many innovative persons, but lack of fund.
20 seconds.
If the fund is available, we can show innovative project build up. But at the same time, there are many innovative persons, and they are lack of financial support to support their projects.
All right.
Thank you. That is all.
Thank you very much. Okay, group number 6, entrepreneurs. Group number 6. Who is speaking for group number 6? Entrepreneurs. Group number 6. Group number 6. Group number 6. Group number 6 didn't meet. I know very well that I assigned people to group number 6. I know that. Maybe they have all disappeared. All right, no problem. Group number 6 has denied us an opportunity of half an hour we gave to them. But for the sake of time, let's move on. Somebody is annotating my screen, and I don't want that. Don't annotate my screen. All right, so thank you all the groups for the fantastic discussions. I will go to the next thing. I would like us to quickly look at. So please, if you have input, and I want it to be short, straight to the point. Some conditions for innovation success. Some of the things you have mentioned here indicate really some gaps, and some of those gaps may be contributing to some of the issues why we are lagging behind as a people. For instance, the group number 1, speaking about academia, mentioned something that is crucial. Many times the research done is not targeted at solving problems. It's theoretically based. And that can be a problem because it will not then motivate innovation. All right? And then the group number 2 mentioned something that is also crucial. Innovation without clear communication with consumers. So the recipients in actuality do not know what you're doing, and then you present a product to them, and then what happens is that they deny you. All right? They deny you. We don't know who you are. We don't know what you are bringing to us. It's like those communities where you bring boreholes, you fill boreholes everywhere, but the community continues to go to the stream to fetch water. They prefer to go to the stream that is maybe located 5 kilometers away, whereas there is a borehole that is 200 meters away from their house. Why? Because there is lack of understanding that the journey to the stream is actually a relationship journey, which is more than fetching water. So there is an interaction, there is a communication, there's a relationship that is built, taking that journey. So if you think that their problem is only water, then you miss the point. All right? Then you go to government, you go to private sector, you go to funders. Each group has presented some clear ideas and highlighted areas where there is a problem and we fail. But these problems can be amended. And the energy that is required to amend them is not tremendous. So conditions for innovation success, each stakeholder knowing and playing their roles. When the group number 3 mentioned about the government, they cited examples from Kenya, Nigeria, then they went to South Africa. Government not knowing their roles will be a problem. And I think this also starts from the place of the leadership, how the leadership is selected. If you have leaders that do not know the worth of research, if you do not elect leaders who know the worth of innovation, then innovation suffers. Development will also suffer, especially locally generated innovation and development will suffer. There will be huge reliance on what comes from outside that environment. So it's important. This is key. This is key. And those who, each stakeholder is also empowered to play their role. All right? For instance, among the consumers, the uneducated needs to be empowered to understand their roles. And then there should be an understanding between stakeholders, which you can move to, also communication and interaction. If you imagine what happens in the Western world, this framework is so important for the success they achieve. And what I was describing in my introduction, the UNESCO mantra that research is the collaborative, is a collaborative effort. Innovation is a collaborative effort because it serves everybody. I like what the group 2 mentioned about consumers, because everybody benefits from, everybody is a consumer. Okay? It serves everybody. And so if there is no interaction that exists between the stakeholders, if there is no understanding, if there is no communication, then it's a problem. I think 2 years ago, one of the sessions we had, we are looking at the role of the private sector in research funding. And one of the speakers from the private sector we brought was reacting, saying that, well, I will be willing to fund research, but the fact is that I don't know what African researchers are doing. I don't know. I don't have an idea. So I don't know what to fund. You see? So there is a break in that communication. There is a break in that interaction. There is a break. And when there is a break, you see, this system cannot work. Innovation cannot be complete because it requires all the stakeholders to come together to make it work. Everybody's playing their role for it to happen. Well, is there anybody who has anything to say to this? Somebody's complaining my voice is so low. Do I repeat all I have said, or you got me? I would like reactions. I would like contributions to this discussion. Conditions for innovation success. What is your experience within the African context? What is your experience? What is your experience? All right. So this condition of interaction is key. Without it, it wouldn't work. Without it, we will suffer. All right. Okay. I'm based in Sweden here. And when I came here, I came on a tenure track position. And the time I came here, and even until now, there is an initiative that the country started implementing. And that initiative is to recruit international scientists into Sweden and give them tenure track position, fund them very well so that they can interact with Swedes. All right. But the beauty of that initiative was that it was a collaboration between the government, the private sector, the academia, and the funders in terms of supporting that initiative. What is the role of academia? Academia, we want you to create this position. We want you to support those that will be recruited. Put them in the right department, support them, provide them the administrative support, provide them the enabling environment so that they can thrive. The government, the private sector, and the funders now shared the funding. I think the government contributed 10%, the private sector around 50%, around 40%, and the funders around 60%. To fund this position, and the academia will provide the environment for this to happen. That is the kind of interaction that needs to be, all right? And such a system makes it easier for innovation to grow. Okay. Ingredients for innovation. There may be others. You may add to that. You may disagree, but I think these 4 aspects are so essential for innovation to grow. That must be the idea. Not just having idea, okay? Like those who presented from group number 1, mentioning that in Africa, the academia is more theoretically based. There should be an idea that is transformative. There should be an idea that is innovative. There should be an idea that can lead to a product that can be applied to solve problems. Those are the ideas that can be highlighted and taken up by government and funded by the private sector and the funders. Those are ideas that the consumers can key into. All right? So the idea is very crucial. The idea is very crucial. And I like the point which was well elaborated by group number 3 that was discussing government. Government provide policies. Government provide standards, regulations, laws that guide both the idea and the funding framework. At the same time, government also support the environment, providing the enabling environment where innovation can work. Okay? And finally, funding. Innovation cannot work in any way if there is no funding. It's a dead story. The problem is that I've heard many Africans blame so much funding for lack of innovation. but you know that funding is one part of the equation. Do you have the idea? Okay. You know, it is the idea that looks for the money. It's the idea. I know that the money also looks for the idea. But when you get the idea, you look for the money. So for you as an academic, you need to first of all develop the idea. And then it will be easy for you to pursue the money. And I promise you, if your idea is innovative, sooner or later, the funding will be available. Okay? And of course, funding is competitive, and you need to have the skills to write it in a way that it can bring you success. All right, I see Eman is raising her hand. Eman, please.
Thanks, Bright, for bringing this fruitful discussion. I think one of the things that's missing in Africa is that we miss a common language for communication between all ingredients and all stakeholders in of the funding process. The researchers work by their own. They do not have communication with the public or community to know the needs, and also don't have any communication with the funders. The funders have their own agenda for funding, either governmental or non-governmental or individualized or even private sector. And the government as a master for all these process lacks the organization and control of how the funding process will go, which make it a difficult and humbling process. One of the members of our group said about the funding process in Africa that is uncivilized process. It is a process that's not organized, and a lot of challenges and barriers exist here and there. So that to improve the landing scape, we need to start from the base. We need to communicate. We need to know where are we and where we want to go, and is what we want to do with the funding amount of money. Many researchers want to have a research output, I mean publication. And this thinking should be broad. We don't need publication to be the output of research. We need research to solve the problems of the community and to have a research output as something that have impact for all. Yes, publication is part of this process, but it is not the main outcome. And that we started with our funding project here in African Science Frontiers Initiative to know the funding landscape. And then we started this discussion. So we need all people participating here to transfer what they have learned from this discussion to other members in their community and academia and industry, so that at the end of this year, with the theme of innovation, we will have something to be improved in the funding landscape in Africa. Thank you.
Thank you, Eman. Thank you, Eman. All right, so colleagues, I want to thank you for your contribution this evening. Some of the things we are discussing here require further discussions because they are fundamental. They're very fundamental for survival of our society. It's not that Africans cannot do well. See, these 4 ingredients are so essential that you can imagine an African who is in his country struggling. Once he goes out, he lands in the United Kingdom. He lands in the US. He goes to Australia, he goes to Canada, he goes to different other developed nations. And then sooner or later, he begins to receive awards for groundbreaking this, groundbreaking that. Something that he could not even dream happening in his own country. What changed? Did he learn new things? Perhaps not. But you see, once these issues, these ingredients are complete, innovation will thrive and societies will develop. So our time is almost up, but let me conclude. So I just want to thank you. For those who are asking about registration to become members, you have all the information. Check the chat box. There are lots of benefits you have to become a member of ASFI. Please take advantage of that. It's an annual-based membership, January to February to December. You still have time, so please join ASFI membership, and I think you'll be happy with it. The 6th edition of this seminar, Making Innovation Research Work, the funding aspect. We are happy to have Dr. Eric Remera, who is the Division Manager, Research Innovation and Data Science, Rwanda Biomedical Center, who will be speaking to us on the 30th of June. So please make yourself available that day. The issue of funding is quite essential, and I believe that you would want to hear the options that are there. And then in the June's Dr. Warren's Research Tips and Tricks 27th edition, we'll be looking at failure. Please don't forget that on Friday it is ignorance. Friday, the May edition. In June, it is failure, the never-ending learning. Okay, so thank you very much for coming this evening, and I wish you a very wonderful week ahead. You are free now to open your mic and say hello before you go. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.
Good evening, Professor. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, Prof. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good evening, Prof. Thank you very much. Thank you, Prof. Thank you very much.
We appreciate your effort.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prof.
Thank you.
Have a good week and your team.
I wish you.
Thank you, Prof. God bless you. We appreciate your effort.
Thank you.
Thank you.